Hello everybody and welcome to What's in the Box. Myself and Az are sitting down to have a look at some more Warhammer Underworld Shadespire miniatures. Az, I'm going to let you say the name on this one because I know I'm going to mangle it. I know I'm going to mangle it.
I know I'm going to mangle it too. Someone out there is going to correct us, but it's the Sepulchral Guard I'm going with. So these essentially you imagine as being the undead skeletons, that are going to be defending your sepulchre. I can never say it. Look, I'm not even going to try and murder it. So a big warband, 7 guys, because we saw 3 and 5 for the 2 warbands in the core set. Yeah. So straight away, one of the first expansion boxes is giving us 7. So I'm going to assume they're going to be kind of fragile, and maybe weaker in the damage, but
they're going to be your classic skeletons. Yeah, is what I'm thinking. Now the question is, are they all skeletons?
Or is there something mixed in?
Or is there a lich in there as well?
So the box contains 7 fighters. We have 29 Sepulchral Guard and 31 universal upgrades. So that's cool. So you're going to get upgrades specifically for them, but also upgrade cards as well.
Yeah.
Plus you're going to then have your ploy and objective cards also mixed into that too. So you're getting a bit unique. And you're right, there is a Sepulchral Warden included. He's the guy with the massive cloak who I think we can see pretty easily straight off the bat.
Yeah, so this is the sprue, and I think I can get a little closer on this.
There we go.
So, yeah, so this is the back for him. And then it's what I like about these kits. Everything is numbered. So each single miniature is numbered in a little set. Yeah. So it's very easy to tell who's who and tell what base each is meant to go on to.
Yeah, and you have the numbers with the little guides as well. They really are plug and play. They're pretty straightforward. It's just two, 3 pieces maybe max.
Yeah. Now I do like the details on these because you've got all the rotted sort of armor and stuff on them. You've got the rough shields. You've got the skeletons themselves. And then they're rocking around with maces, which is cool.
And an interesting mix of slotted bases and then also what looked like a pinned base there. Yeah. One of the minis in particular, if you can get, I think it might have been, was on that first sprue, let me take a nosy, is actually crawling along the ground like he's been broken in half.
I think you can see him on the instructions at the bottom here. It's this little dude.
And so he's actually
crawling up out of the ground.
Exactly, and that's so cool. So he's just half a figure. So interestingly, actually, if you want to put that back under, you can kind of see, if you look at right on the chest pieces of some of those, they're actually the front and back almost. So you know their shields or their kind of weapons are going to go in front, but they've kind of done a lot of sculpts where the arms are folded across the body. So they're holding a sword in front or they're mid-swing, they're getting a bit of an action pose. And it looks unusual there, but once you've pinned them together, I think that's probably going to look actually really nice.
Well, you see, this is one of the things that you always have to fight against with the sculpts, is sometimes you get a modular kit, right? So the arms will be pretty much kind of static. There'll be a bit of motion to them, but nothing quite so heroic as a single pose miniature. But doing it that way allows you a lot more customizability. With these being sort of like preset characters, having single pose, I think is a far better shout.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And it looks from the box, initially, obviously we're going to get these built. They look quite dynamic. We do have, as you know, we talked about,
our 2 decks.
Our 2 decks, which I'm going to have a little raffle through here in a minute. Do you want to open these up?
Can we open them on camera? This sounds like a bit of a risk.
Oh no, you're winning, are you? Oh no. So I've got the champion straight away.
Cheat. You're going to cheat. A little pair of scissors.
This has now turned into a challenge. I didn't want to lose, and I hate losing. No, do you know what? If I keep at this, I'm going to go ahead and bend all the cards. What is this? This is like a mixture between an unboxing and unwrapping. This is an unfoiling?
An uncarding.
An uncarding?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm fan of that name or not.
We'll take a quick look at some of the cards. So what I have is pretty much all of the
ploys and objectives.
The ploys are here, and some of the actual upgrades. So if we have a look at 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
So the first one I've got here is called Fortify. So friendly fighters holding objectives have +1 defense for their next activation.
Okay. Yep.
That's nice because if this is sort of decided to be more for that, it's good. You've got some of these as well. Now here's an important thing. You see this symbol in the top corner here? This denotes whether it's a universal or a faction specific.
That makes sense.
So you can actually start taking some of these out if you already have the core set. And actually start adding them in. So
and then if you want for Toxic, if you'd like, here is a specific one for the undead, for the Sepulchral Guard, because they have the, as you said, the symbol in the top right.
Frightening speed +2 move.
+2 move, yeah.
That's very scary. You've got Restless Dead. Place a friendly fighter that was taken out of action other than the warden on a starting hex in your territory.
Wow.
So you can actually start rezzing them up again. Then for some of the upgrades, you've got Fatal Strike. So it's a range 1, 2 dice, to hit, but it's got a reaction on it. So let me pull this out of shot here, and I'll read the reaction, just because the text is a little small to be reading at arm's length. So make this attack action during an attack action that takes this fighter out of action before they are removed from the battlefield. It must target their attacker.
So he's basically getting a swing before he's crushed into dust.
Yeah,
basically.
now this is restricted to your champion.
Okay.
So you must have a champion in there as well.
Yep.
But that is nice to actually be able to take another swing back at someone.
It does seem that the battle without end and the fact these guys are going to be coming back is really important. If I show you the Harvester, if you want to put that under camera,
yeah, sure.
His Inspire ability is actually related to the fact that he comes back to the battle, if you can read that.
Yes, so this fighter is returned to the battlefield, he inspires.
Yeah, so if he dies and then you bring him back into the game again, he's going to flip over and come back as the upgraded version on the other side of the card.
Yeah, but even on this lower version of it, he's got an ability here. So in the core set, these are just little fluff pieces.
Yep.
These are now starting to throw in some special rules in this little section. So this guy has Writhing Scythe, targets all adjacent enemy fighters.
And have a look at this, which ties in with that. Before you go ahead, just have a look at that, because that's going to tie in directly to the ability.
All right. So score this immediately if a friendly fighter makes an attack action that damages 3 or more enemy fighters.
It's called the Harvest Begins, so it's really tying in that lore of the Harvester getting in and swiping everybody and then potentially dying and coming back again.
Yeah, and then whenever he upgrades, so he starts out, his attack is 1, 2, 2.
Yep.
He then rolls 3 dice whenever he upgrades.
Yep.
His speed goes up by 1. His wounds stay the same.
Yep.
I do like the fact that these have a nice upgrade to them.
Yep.
Now, who else do we have here?
So this is the critical guy then. So this is the Sepulchral Warden, and essentially his action, which he can use as one of your 4 actions, is to place a friendly fighter that was taken out of action on a starting hex in your territory, and remove their wound counter. So he's the guy that's going to be reanimating, bringing back your skeletons and giving them another chance. And knowing that several of them actually, I'm looking at the champion, the Prince of Dust as well, they both inspire when brought back to the battlefield.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be the guy at the back, letting all the other troops run forward and letting them die essentially, and then bringing them back stronger than they were the first time, and that's dead cool.
And he inspires whenever a second friendly warrior is brought back.
So
which is nice.
This is where, whenever we've kind of had a little play with the game, we've seen that objective control and movement around the map becomes more and more important the deeper into the game you go. Yeah. Now, those big sort of 5 and 6 moves to run around and get to him and take him out to stop the reanimation is going to be crucial.
Yeah, he has a second action here as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is choose 2 other friendly fighters, make move actions with these fighters. This does not allow a fighter to move twice in a phase.
But still, with 7 guys on the battlefield, that's cool.
It gives you good battlefield control to actually get your skeletons in and get them doing damage.
Yeah, because you've only got 4 actions to take in each round, so it would be a little tricky. But that means he is so crucial to the game.
He's no slouch in combat. So when he starts out, he's got a range 2 attack, 2 dice, 2 damage.
Yeah.
When he inspires, it goes to 3 dice, 3 damage.
Oh my god, 3 dice, 3 damage is actually crazy. Crazy
and
good.
His movement does go up by 1 as well, which seems to be the general thing when you inspire. You get a little faster.
I'm just having a quick nosy through here. There's a couple. Here's a nice faction specific card that brings a bit of a new twist on one of the objectives.
Okay, so he's got Peerless General. I love the artwork on it. Score this in the 3rd phase if you have 4 or more surviving fighters and none are inspired. That's important.
Yep.
So if you can keep some of your guys back out of the way, send 3 up to be doing damage, doing stuff, keep the others back if you have this in your hand to score that 3. It's influencing your tactics a lot. And
it's a nice lore, that kind of waves of undead skeletons constantly coming back and just repeating on each other over and over again is really nice, because that means, as you said, if you send 3 in and keep a few back, as they die, the other 3 run in, you complete the objective, and then the first 3 that died, you reanimate them in your territory and send them in after.
But they have to be uninspired.
Yeah, you should.
3rd phase. And if they res, they inspire.
So that would
it maybe gives you a reason to keep some of your guys back to actually act as a bodyguard for
4 or more. I don't know about that now. I don't know if I'd want to keep 4 guys. I'd be too gun ho throwing them in.
This is the thing. It makes you think about your tactics, what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're playing, say, Khorne, and that you think, oh, I'm Khorne, I just need to be running in, and you ignore your objectives, you may lose.
Absolutely. 100%.
The objectives you can see can make big swings on the glory.
Yeah, it's definitely not all about just killing the enemy opponent in Shadespire, not at all. Yeah. Very nice box, very nice art, and nice to see the versatility in the cards straight away. Shall we get these?
Yeah, tell you what, I'll take these away.
Yeah.
I'll build them if you want to have a look and maybe see about pulling out a couple more interesting cards to talk about.
Cool.
All right, back in a minute. Hi everybody, we are back and the build is now done. So, we're going to have a look at the skeletons. So, I will say, I do have one or two issues with the kits.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Right, now, number one, they do say no glue in the instructions.
Which, as a board game guy, I like the ability that they say that, because hopefully, with just a set of clippers, you'll be able to get going.
Well, for me, you're going to want to glue them. I like them just being fully built and set. They're not going to fall apart on you. My other issue, you said you could do it with just clippers. Yeah. You're going to want a craft knife for these, because some of the gates, which is the point where the miniature meets the sprue, are in slightly awkward spots. Okay. So you have to be careful about, when you're cleaning it, you have to be careful not to cut into the miniature and actually maybe take off a bit of detail or a bit of the mini that you don't want. Right. So I would say if some of our younger gaming brothers and sisters out there are going to be getting this for, like, you know, birthdays, Christmas, whatever, if you have someone older than you who is also a hobbyist, get them to give you a hand just to be that little bit careful so you don't ruin your mini. Yeah, I'm not saying it would put me off the game, needing clippers, glue, and, you know, like a file or a hobby knife or something to trim that away. I don't think it would put me off, but I think it's an observation when companies like Games Workshop are trying to get into the board gaming market that those little hurdles are still there. Yeah. It's slightly disappointing, but overall, I'm all right with it. Yeah, it's one of those things. A lot of companies, whenever they first started doing this sort of miniatures game, board game hybrid, they actually sold the miniatures in separate components, so just in little baggies. Yeah. They actually got complaints that the miniatures were broken. Oh. Now, in this, you're never going to have that because they're on the sprue. Yeah. So you know it is a model kit you're putting together, but having that extra step, it's one extra little hurdle. Yep. But overall, the miniatures, once they go together, absolutely beautiful. That's great detail. And really, really characterful. So who's this first one? So this is your leader. This is the head honcho then. This is a Sepulchral Warden. So he's going to be giving you that ability to bring your skeletons back to life, and when they come back and return to the battlefield, they're going to get inspired. So he is, I mean, the cloak says it all, really, doesn't it? In his powerful stance, he is your leader. Yeah, well, I mean, like, one of the things they've done on the cloak, which I think is a really nice detail, if you look behind, you can actually see the line where the spear's going down through it. That is a nice touch, actually. It makes the actual fabric and it does seem like fabric. It does change direction, like the wind's kind of catching him from behind, does it? Yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, so it's really, really nicely detailed for that. That is a lovely detail, actually. Yeah. That's a very simple touch. It's a simple touch, but a great one. It's one thing Games Workshop do better than pretty much any other company out there is they do technically flawless miniatures. Yeah. And with these being single pose, there's a real life to them, which is absolutely fantastic. To be fair, it is, and the fact that they have the base with him up on the rock as well, they have a nice powerful stance, leader stance for a board game mini. This would be magic. Yeah. Now, you've had a look at some of the cards. Have you found anything interesting that you want to actually mention? So first, I wanted to show a very straightforward upgrade. So this is going to take the Warden and allow his action now to go from a 2 to a 3 friendly fighter move. So basically, he can spend a single action to move up to 3 skeletons. Yeah. That's going to allow you to swarm really, really quickly. Yeah. And we know from what we've seen in Shadespire that having friendly fighters around an enemy model when you're attacking is going to vastly increase your probability of doing damage because you're going to get the extra size of the dice unlocked by being supported. Yes. So that's a crazy upgrade. What I also... No, it's just a move, not a charge. Yes, so you're just... If there was a way to get that as a charge... Oh, that would be crazy. That would be lovely. No, you could, that would, if you were charging more than one model... No, you see, I would say you can move to end, but the third one charges and then gets that attack. Oh, that would be... Yeah, that's the way I would do it. That would be very, very, powerful, but again, you've got 3 people in on the one thing then, and if your opponent has an ability... I know the Khorne warband has one upgrade where it's actually you attack everyone in base with you. Nice. So with this, you need to be careful of that. Yeah. Oh yeah, goodness. Yeah, the skeletons are not going to stand up to a big cleaving or AoE attack from the Khorne. Another one for the Warden then. So this is actually one of your objectives, and I like this a lot. So the Warden, as we spoke about previously, would maybe have to stay back a lot, and this would give you a way of gaining glory while you're staying back and spending a couple of your actions actually resurrecting and returning your units to the battlefield. So even if he's not fighting, even if you're not killing, and you're just actually bringing units back, you've still got a way to gain glory, which is going to give you access to your upgrades. So I like that those are sprinkled in throughout the cards as well. So that's him. The next up then is the Prince of Dust. Okay, give it to him. Pass him across to you. No. This one in particular was one of the ones I had a problem with one of the gates. Why so? So I will show exactly where it is. So you see on the actual mace here, between 2 of these spikes is where one of the gates was. Oh, okay. So you're trying to nip that out. Yep. It's on a rounded surface, so even after you take it off, you've got a little flat area that you need to sort of resculpt back into a round. Yeah. Now, for most reasonably seasoned hobbyists, it's not an issue. But for someone who's brand new to it, something to watch out for.
Yeah, you'd hate to break off on those spikes or lose a little bit of that detail if you were just going a little bit gun ho at it.
Exactly. So it's just having someone that's that little bit more experienced. Now, I think the product in itself is not really aimed at brand new players who've never looked at the world before. These are going to be returning hobbyists. But again, lovely miniature, feels like a really powerful sort of creature of darkness coming out at you.
It's an interesting point you said it though, that you think it's aimed at returning hobbyists, because to me I think this is more of a gateway. I wouldn't like to think that Games Workshop was just pitching this at Age of Sigmar players or even 40k players. I'd like to think that hopefully they'd be pulling in more people into the world, and you can see what with 5 or 7 minis what kind of action you can get, because the flow of the game does flow kind of similarly to what you expect from Age of Sigmar. So it would be a stepping up off point, hopefully. Maybe. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not sure how well that's going to land.
But there's a key there. If it's a returning hobbyist, if it's just someone brand spanking new to it, do you think they would walk in off the street, see that and go, yeah, I want to give that a go?
Do you know what? The box looks good. It is a 2-player starter set, so it's similar to...
well, not this one.
No. Yeah, so this one in particular, you obviously wouldn't come in. You'd need to have the Shadespire box first. So this one in particular...
Yeah, it's one of those things to think about. I think this is aimed at people who are already hobbyists. Maybe not Games Workshop hobbyists, but just hobbyists in general. Yeah. So as a stepping off point into, Age of Sigmar, it could be that.
Well, you're going to have someone with the core set.
Yeah.
Before you can, because, well, you're not going to get the tokens or the dice.
Yeah.
So this is great if you have a friend who has the core set, or if you do.
Yeah, or if 2 of your mates have grabbed the core set together and you're wanting to join in with it. Say there's 3 mates together that all want to jump in. You've got this, and you've got the Orc. Yeah, it just doesn't roll off the tongue too easy for me.
So one of the Prince's upgrade cards then, again, I like looking at these specific ones because it really shows how they're tailored. This essentially would give the Prince an ability to assume command and control more guys around him to give him support. So he only needs 1 skeleton to take 2 skeletons worth of friendly support from dice rolls. So he could take a single skeleton or 2 off on his own, while your warden was like pushing skeletons on the other flank, giving you a nice option to kind of block and then maybe steal that objective that you need.
Nice.
Doing more with less is always cool.
Yeah. Again, in this game, being efficient with your actions and your character is very important.
Super important. So let's hop on to the champion. Okay. Whose pose I actually really do like.
Yeah, I really like the champion. He was very easy to put together, I will say. And once he is together, I love the fact that he's missing half of his head, if you just look at it. So you'll paint that in with just a little bit of black. I love the fact that they've all got nice amounts of armor and clothing. This is one thing I used to have issue with. Was I saw some people, they would actually design skeletons as if they were still wearing full clothes. So all you had was the skeletal hands, the skeletal head, skeletal feet. But this actually saying that the clothing has rotted and sort of half fallen off them makes it a really, really characterful mini. I really like it.
And for this mini, I decided actually to choose a card which is not specific to the skeleton faction. It's actually one you could play in any of the factions, but for him particularly, Soul Trap is really relevant. Soul Trap is an upgrade which essentially you can put on him, and it means if he's reduced to 0 wounds, you can roll a defense die, and on a shield or a critical, essentially he's going to ignore. He's not going to get knocked out, he's not going to be taken out of the game, he's going to stay around. So for that mini in particular, where he's been kind of had his face, his skull caved in, and he's had part of his chest removed, I like the imagery of him getting back up and being like, no.
Pass me his stat card for a second, because I'm not sure if we had a look at it in the first half. So whenever he's regular, he has no special ability, and whenever he's resurrected, he gets an extra attack and an extra move. So I don't know, I would maybe let him go.
Really?
To actually get that Inspire.
Yeah, well, so as I say, for me, it was more a lore thing. It was looking at the mini. It was kind of matching up a card that kind of went well with him. I think, you could happily put the Soul Trap on anyone in this faction, but also I wanted to pull it out because you could put it into any of the...
See, I would put that on the leader more than anything, because he can't be brought back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's down to tactics.
Yeah, just to give you guys a flavour, not building an army list or a deck here.
No.
So there's Harvester up next then.
Yeah, and he looks so good with the big scythe. So it's, again, these are pretty much 2-part minis, and you glue them onto the base. Really nicely designed with the rotted cape around him. I love the way they've actually done the actual scythe. Has a lot of pitting on it. So it looks, once you paint this, those pits are going to be prime spots to actually do spots of rust and grime and stuff like that. I do not expect to see clean silver weapons with these.
No, goodness, absolutely not. And I think it's definitely well used. Looking very fragile model with the legs and
it is made out of plastic, so
no
it'll
concern.
It'll bend before it would break. If this was a company making this as a resin sort of game, I would be a little worried about being that fine and delicate. But because it's plastic, it's okay.
No concern when you're building it then.
No, no.
So for the Reaper, I wanted to show off one card for him and then another card as well. So this one, essentially, we didn't show this one off in the first half. This is just another way of gaining glory and gaining objectives by having the Reaper tech out multiple minis and utilizing his whirling scythe ability to attack adjacent enemies.
Yeah.
So this means if you're adjacent to 3 or 4, you could attack them all, and if you do manage to take 2 of them out of action, you're going to have an instant glory. 2 glory? Yeah, 2 glory to gain. So it's, as you said, choosing what character to upgrade and what one to support.
Yeah, it's also moving a little into the deck building thing, because there are some of the cards which will actually give you sweeping attacks.
Yeah.
So maybe building that in there with having that objective, good idea.
The deck building part of this game is actually going to be really crucial, and one thing I am noticing is that there are cards throughout the box that you may want to bring into the core set, you may want to put into the Khorne, or the Justicars. Liberators. I wanted to show this Dazzling Key off as well. Now this is another universal upgrade, and I thought this was really interesting because this one, if you want to read it exactly, but it basically gives you objective points at every phase, so if you want to...
Okay, let me read
it exactly.
So I'll read the fluff bit, just because we haven't done that yet. One must possess this key to unlock the Tomb of Enlightened Truth, in which the secrets of refining shard glass are stored. Okay. If this fighter is holding objective 4 in the 3rd end phase, score 2 glory.
So essentially, this is giving you a way to gain glory outside of your 3, because normally your hand is restricted to 3 when it comes to the objective, and that's your way of getting glory. This is giving you a way of getting glory through upgrades, which is getting your way of getting maybe an addition to glory that might take you over your opponent if they were restricted to their 3.
Yeah. See, what I would do is I would put this on one of the basic skeleton warriors, leave it out there nice and quiet.
Just say nothing about them.
Yeah, but at the last 2 activations, or the last activation, I would use the special ability on the commander to move him and maybe a couple of guys up to defend him.
Absolutely, yeah, makes sense.
And then that makes it harder for your opponent to knock you off the objective.
Have a look at the base skeletons. They are as you would expect, they are moving just 2 hexes. They are rolling 2 attack dice, but even doing just 1 damage if they get through. But you do get 3 of them. And my favorite thing about these guys is how much variety you get in the 3 minis.
And when they become inspired, they do go up an attack dice and up a movement. So
the up and movement is really important. Yeah. So these guys are going to be slower to starting, but if you're using your warden to bring them back, they're going to get better.
Yeah.
Look at these.
I do love, this is my favourite one. It looks as if he's just crawling up out of the ground with a little tombstone behind him.
When I looked at the back of the box, I instantly thought that's the one I really like, and then seeing it on actually build is even better.
And then you've got this one, which is a little bit more of an attacking pose. I find it strange that the head's looking off that direction.
It doesn't.
It doesn't look into itself. It looks out from itself.
It looks like he's kind of stumbling forward. He's bringing that shield round that's kind of off balanced him a little bit.
Maybe. And then the last one is one that's a little more heavily armored with a nice big claymore on him.
I actually realized, hold on, maybe I actually got these the wrong way around, did I? Do you know what? I think actually, I do. I think
did you mix that up?
I think that is actually our 3rd petitioner, as they call it. And actually, forgive me,
champion?
It's the double-handed sword guy is actually the champion. Sorry about that.
Alright, these things happen.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
That makes more sense.
He does look that bit more heavily armored.
Yeah, the art on each one of the petitioners is actually a little bit different, which actually had me full bit.
Here's something for you. You see right at the back here, this bit of the shield? See that little bit of breakage in it? That is such a nice, tiny little detail to have.
So it's the wood indented, cracked in on itself?
Yeah, as if it's taken a beating.
A heavy blow?
Yeah. That's super nice.
Oh.
No, for something so simple, just to actually sculpt that in there, nice touch to add.
Lovely. With the petitioners, the base skeletons, there wasn't anything in particular I wanted to show off, but I thought it was worth showing off the Undead Swarm.
Okay.
If you want to read that one out.
So is this an objective?
Yes.
Okay, so score this in an end phase if each enemy fighter is adjacent to at least 2 friendly fighters.
Yeah. So if you're playing against smaller forces of 3 or 4 troops, or even if you've started to take the advantage, this is going to be a really good card to clinch the game.
Yeah. Every single glory is going to make a difference.
Yeah. Now, I have a pet peeve with the last card. A pet peeve. So this is Cadofrian's plate. If you want to show that under close camera, there's a lot of text on it, which I'm not going to go through and read it all. But essentially, this card, if you play it as an upgrade under one of your characters, is going to give you a cascadingly good benefit for each piece of the plate and armor that you have on.
Okay.
Now, as far as I can tell, in the Shadespire box set, there isn't actually any of that set.
Right.
However, in this set, there is that one piece.
Yes.
We know as well in the Auric set, there is one piece.
Right. Is it a different piece?
It's a different piece. So I believe in the Auric set, it's like a belt or a guard or sort of a lower part of the armor. So there's 4 pieces we are still yet to see. Right. Which, as we know, I'm going to actually bring up the rulebook here from Shadespire. So this is from the core set. This is completely separate from what you'll get in the box. But we do know, if you want to show that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there are.
I'm not
you
sure
can even show it straight up. Would be fine.
Oh, yeah. Well.
So there's going to be 6 different factions that you get in the core set. So you have Steelheart's champions. You've also got the Reavers. You've got then Skaven, Dwarves. You've got the Undead and the Orcs. So this is your 6 factions. But what we notice is Steelheart's champions actually have the Farstriders with them as well, and Garrick's Reavers also have Fiends with them. So what I'm expecting is we're going to see another 4 expansion boxes. Yes. Doubling up probably in the core set minis, and each one could potentially have a part of that armor set.
I will say I would expect it not to duplicate the core set.
No, not the same minis, but
adding another set, because even looking at the artwork here, I can see Garrick in the artwork here. If I bring this up, so if I do here, so you can see there's Garrick in the artwork. But then I'm guessing this is Magor. Yeah. And then in the other one here, so I assume this is Steelheart. And the other one
Steelheart
is
didn't actually have Severin Steelheart didn't actually have a helmet on in the core set. So yeah, I think you're exactly right.
The artwork might be just changed for this.
So it's worth saying that I think they'll not duplicate the models, but you will get expansions for each of those factions.
Yeah, which will then have this plate in it.
Which will then have part of that set. So this is Cadofrian's plate. You'll then get Cadofrian's shield, Cadofrian's helmet, Cadofrian's pauldrons. Which you don't have to include it in your deck. Deck building is a crucial part of the game, but I would worry that that could be quite a strong thing, and that might be an enticing way for you to pick up the other expansions, even just for that card if you wanted to build your deck around it, which I'm not a huge fan of.
All right, well, let me quickly read this out.
Sure.
So if you have one piece of this, it doesn't seem to do anything.
It's just a base,
Or actually, no. If this fighter has 2 or more relics, they gain the following cumulative ability.
Okay, here we go.
So if you have 2 bits of it, you get to reroll the defense dice. If you have 3 bits of it, you get to reroll the attack dice. 4 bits of it, after your action, you get to draw 2 power cards. That's getting pretty powerful. Ugh. And if you get him loaded out with all 6 pieces, you gain 4 glory. Ooh. It's a lot of work to do it, and you have to count on the draw from that 20 card deck.
Yeah, and you have to gain glory for each part to play it as well. But it means if we're talking specifically about the Sepulchral Guard here, if your skeletons up front are doing a lot of work, meanwhile you're using that glory of your warden to slowly build him up. For that 3rd phase of the game, or even if you go longer, if you're playing maybe multiplayer games, you could have a massive warden at the back, but getting all the cards out.
You see, this is the thing. You will have to build your deck specifically to allow you to do draws. To actually get the bits out. And you will have to spend a fair bit of the power step actually just loading them out with it. Having the glory
which is fine,
It's powerful, but it's going to be a rare thing to be able to pull off. And if you're having to pick up all the other sets to actually get it.
Exactly. So here from a designer's point of view, would something better have been a better card in this box?
Maybe.
Would there have been more design space that could have been explored instead of throwing this in as a kind of what feels like a way of trying to entice people to buy the other boxes, which I'm not. To me, is it enough of a hook? I don't know. Overall, though, love the art, love the cards, love the theme, love the versatility of the universal ones that we can see used in the other sets. So from a strategy and what this does to the core set, very much on board with it.
Yeah, and definitely something that falls nicely into the core set.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not something that you're going to buy and never use with the core set. Having those cards in here, if you own the core set yourself, you can deck build away using those generic stuff and bring the generic stuff from it into this.
Yeah, worth noting that they do have a number of 437 different cards that we're going to see in this set.
Yeah,
that's a lot of versatility for those who actually like a bit of competitive meta building.
Yeah, well, you see, this is the other thing with having perhaps different generic cards in each of the core sets. Or within each of the faction sets, that's more of a hook for me to pick up the other faction sets aside from the fact that it's lovely minis and it gives me a new way to play.
Yeah.
You know, and because this is just single set of miniatures, say 7 maximum. I mean, I maybe expect this Skaven to have a couple extra,
Possibly,
just because they're smaller and weaker.
Depends if they give them like
you
a
don't
Rat
have
King
a
or
lot of stuff to be having to work through. So I think very, very cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely on board with this.
Yeah. All right, well, tell you what, everybody, the only thing left to do is for you guys to get your comments in below. Tell us what do you think of the Skeleton faction for Shadespire. We will move on. We will see you in the next one.